Hi and welcome to another video analysis with the dead ball area and rugby dump coaching. Aaron Major's tenure at Leicester has seen them steadily transforming themselves into a high-paced, high-skill attacking side, and against Northampton we saw them set out to play a high-tempo game which resulted in them scoring 3 early tries, building a 21-point lead that Northampton were never able to overhaul. In a scintillating opening few minutes, centre Matt Smith went over for a fantastic score, and we're going to look at that try in a little bit more detail. Now, almost from the kick-off we get an idea of how keen Leicester were to move Northampton around. Turning over the ball at the first line out, Leicester immediately counter-attacked by moving it wide and go from one 22 to the other. Now, attacking off a turned over line out is pretty normal. The attack has to transition from an attacking setup to defending, and there is often space wide to exploit, but the speed Leicester do it here is really impressive. When Varner is hauled down by North, Leicester immediately adopt this split field attack pattern, where they will punch into midfield and then come back against the flow of the defence. Now, the aim is to nullify Northampton's defensive line speed and to keep them in a state of transition. Youngs puts the ball down here, but this split field pattern is something they use quite a lot, and it plays a significant part in the next sequence of play. Northampton clean the ball up and JJ Hanrahan clears the ball to the halfway line. Now, if we stop the video here, we can see the ball only just clears the line and Thompson is able to catch it on the full, meaning he can take a quick line out if he wants. Now, what Saints really need is for Hanrahan to put this ball into the crowd, stopping the quick throwing. And additionally, we can see there's almost no follow-up from Northampton's players, leaving this area completely exposed. Thompson takes the quick line out and Varno counters back into this area, again pulling the bulk of Northampton's defenders towards this touchline. The defence scrambles, but if we pause here we can see that Varno and Thompson's counters immediately sucked in 4 Northampton players, which means there is space opening up elsewhere. Varno and Thompson switch and more Northampton players commit to stopping the counter. And if we pause we can see there are 6 Saints players in the immediate area. If we move it on a few frames we can see in total there are 7 Saints players in and around this channel. So straight away we know that the counter-attack must have created space elsewhere. As we move it on we can see Northampton have actually done well to set the defensive line. So Leicester run a punch group in the middle to hold defence and commit more defenders. We can also see that Leicester have reloaded on the left, giving Youngs that midfield option, and this means Northampton's defenders have to hold in this area, which, if we swap the angle, means Leicester have created numbers on the right. We can ignore Laws as he is on the inside of Williams, but if we look, Northampton now have 4 defenders against Leicester's 4 attackers. But when we take into account Beetham is acting as a slider behind and Fitzgerald is off screen, we can count it as 5. Beetham draws Hanrahan, Smith makes a break and dummies Ben Foden to score. Now let's go back to just before the screen pass and watch something Matt Smith does. Here we can see that the Saints' defence have actually done well to get outside shoulders on or in front of their man, hoping to shut off the outside line and drive the ball carrier back inside to cover the defenders. So what Leicester need to do here is fix this defence whilst preserving the space. Coles runs this screen line, holding Waller and Laws, and Williams passes in behind him to Beetham on the slide behind. Beetham draws Hanrahan and Gibson turns in, at which point Beetham passes to Smith. Importantly though, watch how Matt Smith drifts off his line to get into this outside space, creating a 2 versus 1 with Fitzgerald on Collins, the Northampton winger. It's a wonderful bit of play from Smith, who waits for his defender's eyes to leave him and then realigns, meaning when Gibson's eyes come back up, his attacker has already left his channel. And we can see Gibson try and make up the lost ground, but essentially Smith has beaten this man before he even gets the ball. Smith takes the gap, dummies Ben Foden and goes over for what I think is a superbly taken try. And the way Leicester identify and preserve space is key to the try, and I think the way this try was built is synonymous of how Tigers have set out to play it under their new coach. They've kept the game simple, trusting their decision making to stand up under pressure and their ability to execute their core skills faster and better than the opposition. It doesn't always work as we saw against Saracens recently, but if they continue on this current trajectory they'll be a serious force to reckon with, both in the Premiership and in Europe. Thanks for watching and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube.